Now, everyone loves a passive income, don't we? Isn't that a buzzword? Everyone's like, oh yeah, I like me some passive income, or I want to build a passive stream of income, a passive income business. And I think people imagine it to be like something you set up once, you do the work once, and then you just sit at home and the money just keeps coming in, right? That's what I think people think passive income is. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But I think that that's what people think passive income is. And often, I believe property is looked at a way to generate a passive income. And there are many, many gurus, property magnates, property professionals who teach you how to get on the property ladder and how to build a portfolio, how to get a passive income from property. And of course, this show being The Money Honey, the show that brings together women in property finance and construction, we're always talking about, the benefits of getting into property, how to get into it, how to finance it, how to build your empire within this sector. We're educating you about money. We're educating you on the financial services leaders that have been before us and are still here educating us and leading the path on how to build a successful career within financial services. We're talking to women in construction who have broken barriers and broken stereotypes. So that's exactly what this show is all about. We want to bring you the leaders of this industry, people with a story. We want to showcase more talented women in this space. But this is a safe space to bring together women in these so-called male trades. So today, talking about property, I had to invite the one and only guru for me, the one and only on social media that is really putting out educational content, the one who doesn't look like she's in property or finance. And you'll know what I mean. Like when you think of like a property investor, when you think of like a financial advisor, you would not, like the image in your head, like when I say think of a nurse, do you think of a woman or do you think of a man? When I say think of a quantity surveyor in construction, do you think of a man or do you think of a woman? When I say a author, what do you think of? When I say financial services, what do you think of? When I say property, what do you think of? Well, what I think of and what I truly love about this industry is that you can have the boldest and biggest personality and adapt to this industry in your own style, have your own voice, have your own message. So today, my friends, for those of you listening to this show, again, welcome back. My name is Rosalia Lazara Tilley, and I'm the founder of the Money Honey podcast. I'm also the founder and CEO of Manuka Media. I am also a newly found author. Apparently, I wrote a book. It came out of my brain. Don't know how it reads. I've getting different messages from people, and I'm sure the guest today will be able to share that feeling with me. But yes, I'm a newly found author, #1 best-selling author on Amazon. So yeah, my first ever book is out there. I gave birth to this book, and honestly, I'm so proud of it. So today, sharing the stage with me is Kristina Castellina from Blackpool. She's a multi-million-pound property investor and mum who's on a mission to inspire others to reach their dreams, showcasing the message that anything is possible, no matter what start you have in life. How amazing does that sound? If you could be a multi-million-pound property investor and have your, and achieve everything that you've ever wanted to in your personal life as well. So we've got a very motivational talk today from Christina to show us what she's done. Now, she says she's risen from a working class childhood, peppered with anxiety and trauma. And she said, in inverted commas, getting in the wrong crowds. And I don't know what that means, but we'll see. We'll see what that means. And she says she's been victimized and bullied from racism as well. So I have never known this about Christina. She was very brave to tell me this in her bio and in her intro, because you would never think or consider Christina to be an outsider. Never would I think that this absolute bubble of energy, buzzing person could have ever felt lost in her life. How could she have not had the confidence that she has today? I don't know where she got it from. I don't know how she's doing it, but I am delighted to welcome you here today a #1 best-selling author, Kristina. Hello.
Oh, gosh, I feel like we've gone deep straight away. We've gone straight. We've just gone straight in for the trauma. Let's do it. That's what we.
What? It just seems so shocking that I look at this bubble of energy, this buzzing person, this firecracker on social media, hitting the #1 best-selling charts, and then I read your bio and I'm like, sorry, is this Christina? I'm like, to my PA, I was like, is this the right person that we're interviewing? Like, how did this happen? So Christina, please, for those people who have not yet had the pleasure of meeting you, I haven't even had the pleasure of meeting you yet, just stalking you on social media, really. I can't really claim to know you, but please give us a whistle-stop tour of yourself and your career and who you are and what you do.
Gosh, it's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? Who are you? Give me a quick.
I sound like Cilla Black. What's your name? Where'd you come from?
So actually, just kind of picking up on what you said of like, is this the same person? I almost feel like it's a bit of a rebellion to just actually. I think when I've always been a bit different. I've always had a big personality, and I've moved around loads. As a little girl, my mum and dad, for some reason, it's not like my dad was in the RAF or anything. They just literally moved around quite a lot. So I was always the new girl. I wasn't always bullied. I had a really normal childhood until we moved to a village in Scotland. And then I was horrifically bullied. And it wasn't at the time when you're so vulnerable. I was only like 11, really confident. I just was such a performer. I loved singing and dancing. And I didn't fit in on any level. And it's really a funny thing, actually, to use the word racism, because it's not something, it's only when now I'm an adult that I can actually go, crikey, that's what it was. So I didn't fit in, and the children just weren't nice to me because I had an English accent. And in those times, and I really hope it's changed, but certainly when I was little, in small villages in Scotland, they just really didn't like English people like that. And and I've always been scared to say it because it's like, it's a big thing to say, but that was what happened. Like I was called the English bitch. Like that was my nickname when I was 11. And I was like, I don't understand this. I don't understand why. I don't understand. I just don't understand it. And also as well, to make things a bit more tricky, when I was 13, I found out I was adopted. And I'm actually half Indian, but I didn't know at the time, half Asian. And at that time, I had massive, thick black eyebrows, had big, thick, real, almost bushy black hair. And I looked quite Asian, actually. It's only now, because I've got short hair and blah, blah, blah. But when I was younger, I certainly actually did look quite Asian. So I was English and I was Asian, which, again, in a small village, is not normal. So it was like a double thing. So they would call me names, and it was really confusing for me because I actually didn't know what my heritage was. I didn't know who my birth mother and father. I didn't know any of this information. So it was really confusing to have this attack on me, but not actually know why my skin colour is the way it's, why I don't look anything like my mum and dad. So I think it was really traumatic, really traumatic. And I think the reason why I am how I am now is almost a rebellion of like, this is who I am. I've had so much pain during my teenage years, and I've done a lot of therapy, and I've been on mad things like Turning Point, where I basically cried for 4 days. And you just have to build yourself up to a point where you just go, I am not accepting any more of this. I'm not apologising for being who I am. And I think you have to break through, and it was a breakthrough, and that's why I show up as I am now, because I've just had years of hell, and I'm like, and actually, the fact that I'm different is the same as you. You're colourful, you're exactly who you are, and when you step into who you are, that is your superpower.
Yes, exactly. That is your superpower, and that's 90% of my life's work, which is about, brands and businesses and individuals owning their voice and owning their individuality, stepping out. It's so funny that stepping into yourself is actually stepping out of your comfort zone. Me teaching people how to be themselves is out of their comfort zone, when in fact it should be the most natural thing that comes to us, and it's not. And that's why social media, I guess, gives you a perception of one thing when actually you are something else. So even though you are being yourself on social media and your true self, actually that could be your most vulnerable position, is to showcase yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. It's scary. Because when you are yourself, if people don't like it, they just don't like you. Because you're like, oh, this is the real me, so that's a big shame. You're like, you just actually don't like me.
Yeah, and what can we do? We can't be liked by everybody. We can't really please everybody. But there is that feeling of people pleasing. And my goodness, like Christina, we have jumped in right at the deep end. We have literally only just met, and we are right there where you probably weren't expecting to be. But thank you so much for your vulnerability and your honesty on this show, because first of all, it takes a lot of bravery and courage for people to actually put their hand up and say, hey, I'd like to be on the show. So thank you, first off, for even just showing your face here, because I'm trying to show the colourful side of financial services. Hence my office is plastered in pink, yellow and orange.
I love it.
And obviously when I saw you in all your colours, I was like, oh my God, where has she been all my life? So I had to get you on the show because I want to show how diverse and colourful and different finance, property and construction can be, and so many other industries, even in the accounting space. You when you say accountant, what do you think of? What do you think of? Like this man suited and booted in his office with a stack of papers. But actually, no, what I see is so many young entrepreneurial, business-minded people, are just such a diverse range of people. So you are an ultimate money honey. The definition of money honey for me and everyone who comes to the show is someone who is bold, brave, doing something with their own voice, with their authenticity. And you totally embody that. And I just wanted to recognize your big share here about your childhood, because I've not been willing to call it racism because of the racism that we see, like the extreme racism that we see today. But actually, I was also a victim of racism because I was the only brown girl in my class when I moved from Italy to the UK. But you didn't call it racism because I wasn't black.
Yes.
Right. So you think I can't call it racism because I'm not black, right? Did you feel that guilt as well, where you were like subject to yeah.
You don't know what to call it. But then when you're an adult and you have children, if people said to my children what they said to me, I would instantly call that is 100% discrimination. That is.
Yes.
But when you're in it and it's all those years ago, no one knew what to call. But I knew in my heart what it was. They didn't like I knew, but it's still now it's scary to say because I don't want to. You're so scared of like insulting or upsetting, but that is what it was. That 100% is what it was.
It was. No, I agree with you because you thought, well, I'm English. You didn't realize you had a different background, a different heritage. I knew I was not English. I knew I was Italian. I was taken from Italy and I was a sassy Sicilian 8-year-old girl. I already had my personality. I already knew who I was. And coming into the UK and being completely abolished like that, there was some people who accepted me, very, very few. But then others were like, even taking the mickey out of like my hair, my skin tone. Like I had darker hair than everyone else. With dark hair, guys, let's just not beat around the bush. I had a moustache. I'm not gonna lie. I had a full blown like goatee almost. And that was really hard.
I'm with you. Me too.
Yeah. And today I laugh about it because I spend hundreds on laser. Thank you, laser hair removal. Thank goodness, because
I just used to that as Imac. Do you remember the hair removal? It's creepy.
Oh, well, those epilays. Oh my God, that thing that killed.
Yeah. So I constantly just smelled that. I just smelled hair removal cream.
Yeah.
me shave. But it's the same thing, really. Which is
I know.
So I just stank of this horrible, just terrified of like, oh gosh, I hope they don't see my black hair. And, you know.
Yeah. And you know what? I really struggle. I struggle today, Chrissy. I don't know about you, but obviously, you know, I have a huge girl crush on your whole look. You're absolutely gorgeous. You're beautiful. And maybe you do relate to this, but when I was younger, I wasn't considered beautiful and pretty. You know, I hadn't grown into my femininity yet. I just wasn't. I just didn't feel great, and I was overweight and things like that. And now I really struggle when people like pay me compliments and they like label me as a beautiful woman. I'm like, I find that really strange because I grew up all my life with the credit to me was my intelligence rather than my looks. Did that ever play a part, especially now that you're a grown woman in financial services? You are beautiful, you are bold. But does that ever come up, you know, is there ever something around that?
No, not around my looks, because despite everything, I always thought I was great, to be honest.
I love it. I'm hot, regardless of what you say.
I was like, what are they missing here? This is great. Oh man, they just don't understand me. No, never had a problem with that. When people say you go to like, well, thank you, I know. What I struggle with is self-love. So when people say they loved me, oh no, I can't take the love. So I rejected love. So for me, it was the opposite way around of like, never struggled with feeling intelligent or anything, but it was just I couldn't take love. So we've had boyfriends and they loved me too much. I'd be like, oh no, go. So the more they loved me, the more I would reject it. And it's only when I went on Turning Point, I had to do some weird stuff. And you had to look at someone and they'd look you in the eye and they'd say they loved you, and it would make me cry because I just couldn't deal with it. And that's self-love, it's a self-love thing. And that's when I realised, oh, I'm never ever going to be able to get married and have children and settle down until I start to just open my heart and love myself. And from then, that's when my husband, well, you know, that's how I got married and had children and everything. If I hadn't have done that,
yes,
I was just going through one, to be honest.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've done something similar to that myself, actually. I went on like this transformational seminar where I had to ring my family and apologise and cry down the phone and all that weird shit. They thought I'd been abducted. Oh my God, yeah. I've
done it all. That's really hard. I did that one first. So I did that and then broke up with a boyfriend and then wrote an ex-boyfriend this letter just apologised how horrendous it was.
Oh my God.
Mum and Dad apologising for mad stuff that they'd done, not me. But
yeah. Like this weird, like psychological twist of like, do you know what? Like there is a massive sense in that though, and we can cover that on another episode or offline. I mean, there is a, you know, the whole concept of taking responsibility and saying that I made my shit your shit and your shit's my shit, and actually I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
There was some truth and sense in that. And it did teach me quite a lot of things. Like it taught me about like staying true to your word is like something that I'm really big on. So like if someone said they were going to do something and they don't, or someone is misaligned with like they said they are this type of person and then their actions show something else, I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't sit well. So I've discovered, you know, like little bits about me like that, and also like why I do what I do. Like why do I always try to be so punctual? Why do I always, you know? So it was helpful. But anyway, we won't go into that kind of witchcraft here on today's show. Talk to me, Christina. How did you find property and the love of property? Where did that come from?
So I used to be a singer, loved it, lived and breathed it, but very security driven. And I don't know, I feel like I'd kind of done pretty much everything that I wanted to do. And I'd got to a point where I was like, okay, now I want to make some money and I want some security. And I want to stop having to work 7 nights a week singing. I wanted to change my lifestyle. And I'd got into network marketing. This is,
same. Oh my God, same.
So I did RBOB about 15 years ago. It was before. Did you do it as well?
Oh
we're the same person.
What the hell? I did Arbonne too.
Right. When did you do it?
But I was in it for about 5 years. I was in Vegas every year for 5 years. We probably what? Oh my God! What? So I left probably about 20. Oh, I want to say 2018, 2017. I left.
So there would have been a crossover because I left. I think I'm gonna say 2015. I think. Yeah, 2015.
Okay, so you left a bit before me.
So maybe I was leaving as you were coming in. Oh
No, I don't know. There's definitely a crossover there because I was in it for about yeah.
a really exciting time to be alive. I was with Sarah Dunnage, she's one of my besties, and I was with her doing it. This is mental. So I was with Sarah.
It's too small, guys. I don't get it. Like everyone listening is like, what are they screeching about? Why are they? Can I just give some context really quickly, Christina, about what we're all both screeching about?
Yes.
Now, if anyone's ever knocked on your door and tried to sell you a candle or a lipstick or, like some sort of business, you probably would have called it a pyramid, right? And that is often from the people on the outside looking in, think it's a pyramid, right? Now, there are some, I don't know what Christina thinks about this, but there are some companies that are set up like a pyramid and there are some that really truly aren't, and they're trying to move away from that. Anyway, long story short, Christina, what we're screeching about is that we both did the same network marketing business. We both had the same network marketing company called Arbonne. Now, I well and truly respect, I would not be here today, hand on heart, respect to everybody in that business who took me under their wing and supported me and trained me. I would not be where I am here today without them. And the reason is because no one teaches you how to run a business. No one teaches you how to do public speaking. No one teaches you how to take no after no after no after no after no. No one teaches you that shit at school. And so for me, Arbonne was a mini MBA. Like I actually got trained on how to deliver presentations, how to speak, how to train, how to take rejection, and how to build a team through network marketing. Did I get the rock star lifestyle check that they promised and that they, portrayed? No. I did not retire at age 25 with, £40,000 per month of income. I didn't do that, but I did learn so much more than any job has ever taught me. That's my spiel on network marketing, but I'll hand back over to Christina. I just wanted to give that context as to why we're going crazy here. What was your experience, Christina?
Exactly that. So when I think back to that time that I met Sarah Dunning in a coffee shop, I was so hungry. I had no idea about business. I hoped that I would get famous and earn loads of money as a singer because that was my only path. That I didn't know of anything else. So when she sat down with me and was like, talk about leverage and passive income and trading type of money, I just couldn't sleep because I was like, why has no one told me this? This is the answer. And I chucked myself into that business as though my life depended on it. I went to every training. I read every book. I stopped listening to music. I drove around the country listening to audiobooks, Jack Canfield, like the success piece. It was just literally like my brain started being molded into this business person. And the same as you. Changed my life. I learned how to speak. It was only from that I realised actually I'm a good speaker. Like I've got presentation skills. I'm good with people. It was these years and years and years of rejection and, learning how to run a business and train a team that I got confident in my ability. And how I got into property is I went to a free Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar to network for Arbonne. And then it was basically a 2-hour sales pitch about investing in property, which literally they got me. And I was like, this is it. This is the way forward. Signed up, enrolled then into the full 18 grand training. So this was like a company called Mental. My whole life savings. Yep, let's do it. I was so positive. I was so green and young and naive that even though I was scared about parting with my life savings, I just had this insane mindset. My mindset then was probably better than it is now, to be honest, because I had the benefit of youth. I hadn't had all these life experiences yet of actually how hard business can be and the market. Like, I didn't know any of that. So I literally was just so green, which is a blessing, that I just said, yes, let's do it. And I did, spend my life savings, and it was the first time. So there's 3 things in my life that have been the loves of my life. The first one, singing and dancing, I knew that's what I wanted to do. The second was Arbon, and the third was property. And as soon as property entered the stage, I was like, I can't do Arbon and property, so I chose property. I never really looked back. And I think as well, the benefit of doing network marketing is it made property feel so easy. Actually, compared to what I was doing, property seemed so easy. I was like, you put 10 offers in, you get one accepted. That's easy. I'm used to doing that with Arbon, but the properties don't answer back, and they're just there working for you, like 24 hours a day. Like, I just got it. It seemed so straightforward. And whenever people moan about property, yes, it's a different stress, because you talk about hundreds of thousands of pounds, and the anxiety can be crippling. I still experience anxiety with property. However, I think it's a quite straightforward, easy business model in comparison to network marketing.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Christina, we need to book a cocktail meeting. We need to literally go and have a cocktail and just talk about this, because we're probably going to be able to squeeze it in all on the podcast. But I am literally, I think I followed that exact same journey where I did. I went to school, got a good grades, went to uni, got a good degree, got a job, got a pay rise, thought I wanted to live in London and do my whole corporate life. Then someone sat me down for a coffee to talk about Arbon, and I was like, the world has gone crazy. What are you all doing at your 9-to-5 jobs? I literally was like you, so green, so raw, so passionate. And I was like, what is everyone doing? You're all in a you're all in a 9-to-5. And the breakdown job was just over broke. And it was like, what are you all doing? What a waste of life. I'm going to do this. And I did do it for 5 years, and I learned so much. And then through that, I got into Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because obviously they teach about that. I learned about property. I went to, I don't know if you remember, they used to be called Tigrant. This property course called Tigrant.
Yes, that's what I did.
You did.
So it was Tigrant when I did my training, then they changed it to Legacy. Then I was one of the speakers. So then I was one of their 2-hour speakers. So as a previous speaker, I used to speak to them all over the world, actually.
Wow. Well done. No, I didn't. When I went there, I took my mum, who, bless her heart, she already saw me, she already thought I was passionate and enthusiastic and entrepreneurial. But then when I turned Arbon on and started going to Rich Dad, Poor Dad and all these things, she was like, oh my God, Rosalia is out of control, but in a very supportive way. And so we went to this event, and they were teaching us how to get property on a credit card, buy your properties, buy 12 properties on 0% interest credit card. And my mum was like, Rosalia, get out of here right now, because she's a portfolio. I think she owns a few properties herself with my dad, as a family. And she was like, no, Ros, if you want to pay 20 grand to learn how they do it, fine. But obviously we know what we're doing as well, but we're not trying to tell you that we know best. It's just that I'm not comfortable then lending you credit cards and this and that to start your portfolio. But you've got a book out that is about how to invest in property using other people's money, starting with £0. And that can be, do you want to give us a little insight into this #1 bestseller that you've launched? Because it's such a hot topic. What does that mean? How do you start in property with zero money?
So the reason why I wrote the book is because that's what I did. I'd invested my life savings into training, and then I had to be very creative with raising funds to do deals. So I never bought a property with a credit card, first of all. I did use my credit cards for refurbs, though, 0%. Use it for refurbs. Still do that. Quite happy with that, comfortable with the risk there. But this book, essentially, the reason why I wrote this is I wanted to write a book written by a woman. I was kind of a bit sick of reading books written by men for men in suits. And I was like, let's just make it really accessible. So it is written in a way that everyone can understand. I've tried to make it entertaining, but but also formal and full of information. And this gives you so many different options on how you can raise finance for deals, whether that's working with a joint venture partner, whether it's working with private investors. Obviously, you can utilise credit cards as bridging loans. You've got normal mortgages. There's so many different ways of financing deals. And I think most people just assume a mortgage is the only option. So in here, it just kind of shows really what's possible, because I've built all my whole portfolio starting from zero and leveraging other people's money, and it's creating me a lot of wealth by doing it. So just think, if I can do it, loads of people can do it.
Christina, that is absolutely true magic. That is amazing to see. I mean, there is no better definition than Money Honey than that, which is an absolute rock star in the space in which you're breaking barriers, you're breaking stereotypes, and you've done that since you were a child. I can see why you've excelled so much in this industry, because you're right. A lot of books are written by men for men about property, money, assets, property, investments. And it just feels really manly and really, really impressive. Yeah, exactly. Whereas, you can tell just by looking at the front cover, by looking at your smile, your personality, the description of how you've written the book. I will confess, and my hands up, guys, it's on order. It's on its way. I couldn't get it quick enough before Kristina came on the show, but I cannot wait to dive in, because I do want to take property more seriously. I do have a small family portfolio, and we're building generational wealth that way, because Italians love property. So we've always had property in the family. But there will come a point where I'm going to be, the sole kind of leader in, maybe my brother might want to join in as well. I'm not sure if he's interested in doing something actively, but yeah, my husband and I are definitely interested in building a stronger property portfolio. So this book is definitely going to help me, because, I mean, if you have the funds, great. But just because you have them doesn't mean you have to use them. If there's a creative way, like Christina's showing you, like if there's a creative way to not put in your full capital into it and borrow and, pay it back through profits of your property sales or refurbs, then why not? So I'm very excited to jump in the book. And guys, if you want to grab the book, where should we go? How can we buy a copy of the book, Christina?
So it's on Amazon. So if you go to Amazon and you search starting from zero, this will come up. And yeah, if you're on Prime, it'll come the next day. And there's hardback copy as well. It's all on Amazon.
Amazing. So yes, it's called Starting from Zero. So £0, how to invest in property using other people's money. And again, guys, this is a #1 best-selling copy. Okay, it's hit #1 in 6 categories. It is the hottest book on the property market right now. If you look at, even just when you look at, and no disrespect, but even just when you look at the front covers of all the other property books, there is literally nothing like it. So make sure that you go on Amazon, get yourselves a copy. If you want to connect with Christina, how might we find you? Where's the best place to kind of follow your journey and connect with you?
So I'm very active on Instagram. So my handle is @thegoodlife_property investor. Or you can go onto my website, which is www.KristinaCastellina.co.uk. On there, if you sign up for my email list, you'll also get a free cash flow spreadsheet as well. Lots of tools and information on there. So yeah, my website and my Instagram, I would say, like the 2 key places that people can find me.
Fabulous. We will include that in the show notes so everyone can find you. But look, guys, how happy are you that I have dug through the internet? Like literally, I was digging through and out pops this bubble of energy. Christina, how delighted are you that I found her, brought her here to you on the show? And don't you just love her? Like, I literally love your story and your energy. So thank you so, so much for saying yes to this weirdo on Instagram, saying, hey, I love your posts, please come on my show. Because most people think that that's spam. So thank you so much for taking me seriously and for actually believing in me, and for, being here representing women in property, women in finance, women in construction, and just women kick ass, like those who are actually kicking it. You have done that, my love. So well done again on your book. Love your journey, love your life, love what you're about. And if you were to, just one final question, this is our what we call positive pollination. So passing it forward, paying it forward, and lighting up someone else, and surprising them with this gift of nomination. So if you, they might be listening, might not be listening, it doesn't matter. But if you could listen back, so if you were to be an audience rather than the guest, so if you were listening right now to this show, what kind of message, first part of the question is, what would you love to hear? Like if you were listening, you'd be like, I really wish someone could come on the show and just talk about what is that message that you'd love to hear?
Oh, gosh. I would say I like hearing about ethnicity. I like hearing the stories of how bounce back stories of like in 2008 this happened, and from there we've thrived. I love hearing about I like getting right into the nitty gritty of like, that's what inspires me most. So when everything's fine, when everything's going well, that's amazing. You can be like, love it. But actually, the power, I think, is hearing from people that are willing to share the warts and the pain and the struggles to then go, and now I'm here. I quite like that.
Amazing. Yes, I love that too, because it's really annoying when you're like hearing about, you know, you're clapping and celebrating people's success stories. You're like, yeah, that's great, but how did you do that? Or, you know, how can that relate to me? Love it. And then the final second part of that question is, who would you love to hear from? Like, who would you love to listen to or nominate? Maybe you know someone in property or construction or finance, or someone who's kicking it right now, who's absolutely living life and that you would love to hear from.
Oh, gosh, that's a really good question. So many.
Or a friend or colleague that you're like, do you know what? This person's absolutely killing it. They'd be great.
Well, in fact, I've got a coaching client called Nikki Russell, who is, her energy is so bright. She's quite new coming through, but she's done some fabulous flips, and she's just got this amazing energy, and she's really starting to step into who she is. She's got a very interesting story. So I'd say Nikki Russell. I like Helen Shawley as well. She's an interesting character. She's spent years. I think her background was finance, wasn't it? She was a banker.
Oh, I don't think I've met her.
Helen Shawley, yeah, she's interesting. She's talking about a lot about menopause at the moment, actually. But she went through burnout, total burnout, and now she's.
I know exactly. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about now. Yes, I can picture her like I think she wears pink or something like that. So yeah, I know that. So yeah, Nikki, Helen, if you're listening, you have been nominated, and maybe Christina, when your episode comes out, share it with them, and so give them that gift of positive pollination to say, do you know what, girls, I mentioned you, I nominated you, I think you've got amazing stories. Maybe they're not aware of this show, and actually they could be sharing a story that could change the next listener's life. Like just one listener who's listening could literally take, you know, so much from the next speaker. So thank you again for being a Money Honey, Christina. It's been amazing to get to know you.
Thank you so much.